Across America, BP supports more than 275,000 jobs to keep energy flowing. Jobs like updating turbines at one of our Indiana wind farms and producing more oil and gas with fewer operational emissions in the Gulf of Mexico. It's and, not or. See what doing both means for energy nationwide at bp.com/investing in America.
NetCredit is here to say yes, because you're more than a credit score. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partners. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Welcome to News du Jour. You may be wondering, why am I, Annie Bowles, here hosting this podcast? I usually start by telling people I'm a political baby. You see, my parents met working on Capitol Hill. By the time I was 2, I had been in my first political commercial and even got lost crawling around the West Wing. Don't worry, Al Gore found me. My family then moved abroad when I was 9, and I attended an international school in Brussels with kids from all over the world. And it is this type of global perspective that I also bring to our show. I graduated from American University in DC after studying political science and art history, as well as interning on both sides of Capitol Hill. I even interned down the hall from where my parents met. I'm now pursuing a professional certificate in journalism at NYU in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine. I guess I was always that friend in the group who cared deeply about not just what was going on politically, but also globally. I often kept my own friends informed through high school and into young adulthood, so I guess I've always done a version of this show. I'm genuinely passionate about following the news, and I'm here to break it down for you guys every weekday. We always strive to be a calmer space to get your news. Or, as one listener put it, like getting your news from a well-informed bestie. I'm so glad you're here. Hey everyone, welcome back to the News du Jour. Today is a pretty chill news day, you guys. There wasn't a lot going on. That said, I do have a couple important stories for us to go over, so let's jump in. First and foremost, I wanted to discuss the fact that there have been 81 mass shootings so far in 2024, and that is more than one daily. So, according to the Gun Violence Archive, a group that tracks and studies gun violence here in America, we have had 81 shootings so far in 2024. And in case you're doing the math in your head, we've only had 79 days so far in 2024. All of the shootings are cataloged on the website with victim count, location, etc. And we will go ahead and link that source in our show notes today. I could have covered each and every one of these shootings because each and every one of them is uniquely tragic and devastating to its community. But these shootings also mostly follow a similar pattern. A troubled, isolated young man, usually white, goes and carries out what he sees as vengeance against a vulnerable civilian population, oftentimes including children. These types of shootings happen all over our country, in every state in our country. Common threads are easy access to firearms and mental health concerns. We've known this for a long time. But the most disturbing part of this entire thing is how our leadership seems to simply shrug their shoulders and act like everything is business as usual when Americans are literally being gunned down more than daily in every state in our nation. We will definitely keep you guys posted about this ongoing crisis. Next up for today, Trump is having trouble scraping together funds for his bond. So reports have come out via Trump's own attorneys in court saying that Trump is facing quote unquote insurmountable difficulties in securing his $464 million bond in his civil fraud case. Apparently, over 30 different institutions have turned down his business. You see, this giant amount would require Trump to use some of his real estate as collateral, and apparently no one is willing to accept his real estate as that collateral, which is somewhat comical, which is why I'm laughing here, because it gets to the heart of the issue in this particular case. If you guys remember, this civil fraud case against Trump was all about him inflating the value of his real estate assets to financial institutions. So this is just the irony of all ironies. His attorneys are arguing that conducting a fire sale of his current real estate would result in major losses for Trump over time. And it would, in terms of appreciation. But the current ruling states that either he ponies up the funds now or he will pay interest on them during his appeal as it plays out in court, which would be absolutely enormous. We'll definitely keep you guys posted on what is decided. All right, and that brings us over to Russia. So first and foremost, I wanted to tell you guys about a situation where Buckingham Palace had to respond to a Russian media outlet. So this was a fascinating story, you guys, tying into all of our coverage on the British royal family. You see, there is a lot of speculation online right now that King Charles may be gearing up to step down. And that's what all the fuss is about. Now, how that answers the question of where Kate is, I don't know, and I have not seen one credible news outlet reporting this. However, a Russian media outlet actually did report that King Charles was dead. And apparently this was absolutely crossing the line for the royals. They told the news outlet, quote, "We are happy to confirm that the king is continuing with official and private business," end quote. The Russian outlet had literally even replicated the king's royal seal and completely fabricated a document that looked like it came out of Buckingham Palace to say that the king was deceased. Unreal. This digital age has definitely made it more difficult than ever to decipher reality. And one more tidbit on the royal family while we're on the subject. Right as I was sitting down to record this, I saw on TikTok several different posts that were about her being photographed by TMZ, her meaning Kate Middleton, with William. And it does appear that they were out at like a farmer's market, which was what was rumored and everything. So to me, they looked legit. It looks like her. It looks like she's with William. It looks like they're at a farmer's market. And she's, you know, in like workout gear and just looking very casual. And this is how you would expect someone to look post-surgery if they're recovering and just having like a chill time with their family. So I really hope that this was all just like one giant misunderstanding and that she's totally fine. That said, there have been a ton of like sort of rumors swirling that by Wednesday there will be some sort of major announcement from the royal family. So who knows if that's true? Who knows what it could be? I will definitely still be looking just because this is my job. I report on any news to do with the royal family for the most part. And yeah, if there's anything major, you'll definitely hear about it on this show. And otherwise, I hope Kate is totally fine and this was all just blown out of proportion. So, two other stories to do with Russia, Putin. Putin won another 6-year term. And I use the word won here in like the loosest way possible. We know that elections in Russia are not legitimate. This is just, common sense at this point. I saw one news outlet that put it like, quote, Putin extends his rule. End quote. And I had to laugh out loud at that. That is like the perfect way to put it, in my opinion. Someone who has to kill off their political opponents in order to win is not a legitimate leader. But Putin, he is maintaining his death grip on Russia's Kremlin, for now at least. Putin has also finally discussed Navalny's death for the first time after like securing his rule. Now that the campaign's over, he's able to talk about Navalny. He claims that he was actually gearing up to release Alexei in a type of like prisoner swap situation when he got the news of Navalny's death. He referred to the death as a quote unquote unfortunate incident. Because we have watched Putin lie to us over and over again, I personally do not believe a word of this, but it's up to you guys to make what you will of it. And that for today is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review on that platform or a shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us to be able to keep creating the news du jour and reach more people who need a calmer space to consume the news. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfree media, and that is also linked in our show notes. You can follow us on social media at newsdujour.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my personal account at It's Annie Bowles on both platforms as well. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from
Across America, BP supports more than 275,000 jobs to keep energy flowing. Jobs like building grid-scale solar energy in Ohio and producing gas with fewer operational emissions in Texas. It's and, not or. See what doing both means for energy nationwide at bp.com/investing in America.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit when other lenders say no. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.